Leonardo da Vinci once said that time waits just long enough for those who use it. So the question is, what are you doing with your time? We all have 24 hours in a day. What are you doing with your time? Are you building your dream? Or are you helping someone else build theirs? Are you putting in the work every single day, every single moment of now? Are you planning for your future? They say planning is bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now. So the question is this: what are you doing with your time? Remember, the time is always now.
And thank you for joining me for the Time Is Always Now podcast. My name is Terence Young. I am your host for the podcast today. This is a podcast that's dedicated to helping people get past their excuses, helping people get past saying I'm going to do it someday and one day, and instead saying I'm going to do it right now, because now is the only time we have. If you don't know who I am, I'm a New Thought transformational speaker, a mindset coach, an author, a workshop facilitator, and a musician. And I help people get past their paradigms and help them harness the power in the eternal moment of now, so they can change their lives for the better right here, right now. So thank you for joining me for the podcast. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, by all means you can do so. Just go onto my website. It is terenceyoungnow.com, and you can go there to donate to the podcast, and I appreciate that in advance. Thank you for helping me out with continuing to do what I do, which is to give these messages of hope, of courage, of inspiration to all people. So that's what it's all about. If you haven't joined me over at our group, which is the Time Is Always Now Facebook group, by all means join us over there. It's a great group of like-minded people who all want to change their lives for the better, and we recognize that we're not waiting on the right circumstances or the perfect time, because there is no perfect time. So we work continually to do something right now that can improve our lives for the better. So we encourage each other, we challenge each other, and that's what we do. So if you want to be a part of that group, jump over to Facebook and go on to the Time Is Always Now Facebook group. We would love to have you there. Every single week in the group we have a theme, and this week's theme is shake things up. Don't be afraid to shake things up. That's how you change your life. And every week I always share something that you can tangibly put into your life, where you can change your life for the better right here, right now. That's what it's all about. It's always about right now, what you can tangibly do. So I'm going to share some ideas with you today, some insights on how you can shake things up in your life and why that will improve your life for the better. So first quote I use is this: be willing to shake things up to make things right. Be willing to shake things up to make things right. I remember back at before the pandemic, I started to shake things up in my diet. I've said, you know what? I'm going to start. I was thinking vegetarian or maybe even vegan, but I said I'm not going to go that far. How about I just switch my diet up and do all vegetarian breakfasts? And I did. And you know what's funny about it? I started having an apple, banana, and I would make omelets with egg and all vegetables, no meat. Now some people may say eggs and the meat, but whatever. I was doing it. So I was doing it for a while there, probably 3-4 months. And it was awesome. I felt good. It was fun. I started to recognize as I was shaking things up in my diet, my body felt better, and I enjoyed the different combinations I was making to make my omelets. It was fun to put, onions and tomatoes and jalapenos together and cilantro, and it was really fun to create the omelet itself. So the process became fun, and that's what it's about. You got to shake things up to make things right. And your body starts to feel better. You start to feel better. That's what it's about. So whatever it is in your life, be willing. Be willing to shake things up. That word willing is important. You got to want to do it. Be willing to say, hey, I'm willing to make a change in my life to see how it can improve my life for the better. And it's always about doing it right here, right now. As I say in almost every podcast, don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do, right? You can't do everything right now, but everybody can do something right now. So figure out what that something is and do that. Be willing to change things up to make things right. Maybe it's in your relationship. Maybe you need to change something up in your relationship. Maybe it's something that you were doing, or maybe it's something that your partner is doing. Maybe they need to change something up. But always you can't change what they do. You can only change what you do. So focus on what you can do. Maybe it's in your finances. Maybe you got to be willing to change things up in your finances. Maybe you got to stop going out so much. Maybe you can't go to the movies as much. Be willing to shake things up to make things right. Apply this to any part of your life and it will change your life. And don't wait for the circumstances to be right. Do it right here, right now. That's number one. First one. Second one is this. Sometimes a break from your routine is the very thing you need. Ooh, so important. A break from your routine is the very thing you need. I've talked about this before. Big time runner I am. I've been running for over 20 years. I've run 9 marathons, and at the beginning of 2021, or end of 2020, I should say, I hurt my knee running. And it really bothered me because I wanted to run. But I realized something. It was a break in my routine of running 3 to 4 times a week. So I jumped on my bike. And I also started lifting weights. I created a different routine now, which is funny, of lifting 3 times a week and riding my bike 3 times a week. But you know what? Now I've gotten to the place where I really enjoy the fact that I'm lifting 3 times a week and I enjoy the riding. When I was running 3 to 4 times a week, I wasn't lifting. So now I've created something new because of the change in the routine. Sometimes a break in the routine is exactly what you need. So when I am able to go back to running, wow, I'm still going to incorporate bike riding because I love that as cross training, and I'm still going to put in my weight training that I've been doing on a consistent basis for 8-9 months now. I feel really good about that. The break in the routine wasn't what I planned, but it was exactly what I needed. Think about how that goes into your life. Think about how you've had a break in something and then it's like, wow, now I see it differently, and I'm happy that happened. Now, am I happy I hurt my knee? I'm not going to say I'm happy, but I am happy of what it brought me to the recognition of, which is I need to lift more, need more weight training, and I really do love riding my bike. So I've got both of those things now. Now I just can't wait to incorporate the running back into it. Sometimes a break in your routine is exactly what you need. So what about you? What routine do you have going on that you've been doing for a year or 5 years or 10 years or whatever the case may be that you can change? Because you don't have to be forced into a break. Remember, we can consciously make a break in a routine. That's power right there. When you recognize you have a routine and you're saying, you know what? I need to break this routine to see what else can happen. What else could be different if I do it differently? Companies do this all the time. They're successful, but they still keep innovating and getting better, right? They have to, right? Or you'll get left behind in a business sense, right? It's the same thing with our lives. Don't get stuck in a routine. Don't get stuck in a rut, R-U-T. You know what I call that? Rut, R-U-T, rarely using thought. Don't get stuck in a rut where you're just going back and forth doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're digging yourself a hole, or what some would call a grave. You've got to keep moving forward. And sometimes a break in the routine is exactly what you need. It can take you to the next level. It can open your mind and your eyes to something you didn't see before because you broke that routine. Sometimes you're forced into breaking that routine, and sometimes you got to do it consciously. Break the routine and watch how it changes your life. Number 3 is this. Break your routine, do something different. Wake up your mind. It's exactly what I was talking about before. Wake up your mind, break the routine, do something different. This is great because we've just dealt with that. How about who hasn't had their routine broken in the last year and a half? With this pandemic, everybody's had their routine. I don't care what you do. Even if you were working somewhere that's essential, your routine was broken too because you had to wear a mask and this and that, get COVID tested. We've all had a break in our routine. But what did it do? It woke up our minds to new ways of doing things, new ways of seeing things. Break up the routine. Do something different. Wake up your mind. Here's the thing. We were forced into breaking up our routine, right? This time with the pandemic. But we can do it consciously. This is powerful. And what happens? It gets us, see, when we're in that routine, we're in our subconscious mind. It's like getting in your car and driving to work. You ever done this? Drive to work, get to work, and don't have no idea how you just drove to work because you were on your phone, eating breakfast, or whatever the case may be. It happens all the time. That's our subconscious mind is hitting the brake, hitting the clutch, changing the gears, hitting the turn signal, turning the lights on, the windshield wipers, all in our subconscious mind. We don't have to think about any of that, right? But if someone slams on the brake in front of you, what happens? Boom, you come right back to your conscious mind, right? And then you're like, whoa, I almost hit that person. They slammed on their brakes. Oh, there's an accident up there. You immediately are jumped right back into your conscious mind. When you break your routine, when you do something different than you've always done, you wake up your conscious mind. And that's powerful. It's so powerful when you wake up your conscious mind. So how can you do this purposely? That's what I want you to get through in this talk, in this idea, in this podcast. Purposely do it. You can join groups. I remember back 5 years ago now, 5-6 years ago, I created a group, a run group, where I was helping people train for different 5Ks, marathons, all that stuff. And I was just teaching them concepts that I learned myself in running. Temple Terrace Running Group. And I did it on meetup.com. And I brought people in, and it was great to meet new people. And I was meeting people from all different facets of life. It was really, really cool. And then exchanging those ideas and meeting with them every third Wednesday or Thursday, we would meet once a week. It was so much fun. So if you want to wake up your mind, maybe join some new groups. Use meetup.com. Or even if you, in your local area, there's all kind of groups in wherever you live at. Seek out groups that have with an interest that you have. Join the group. And you can meet people that think differently than you, that talk differently than you, that look differently than you, all of those things. We need that in our world. Even on social media. Go to Facebook if you're on Facebook or whatever. Join groups that are of your interest. You can join our group. The Time Is Always Now Facebook group. So you can interact with people that have the same interests as you, and you may meet people that think a little differently than you as well. That's okay. Yeah. When you change your routine by joining another group or speaking to new people, it wakes up your conscious mind, and that is powerful. That is so powerful. That's what shaking things up is all about. Waking up the conscious mind so you can move in the direction of your dreams. And that's what it's about. So 3 things today, right? Be willing to shake things up to make things right? Be willing to shake things up. And that means you got to be willing to do it. Do it yourself. You don't have to be forced into it. Second one is sometimes a break from the routine is exactly what you need. It's true, right? Whether you were forced into it or not, a break from the routine can teach you so much about yourself and life in general. Third, break the routine. Do something different. Wake up your mind. When you break the routine, when you shake things up, you wake up your conscious mind. You get out of that dormant place of working in the subconscious mind and digging yourself that rut, rarely using thought, and you are consciously using thought again, right here, right now. That's what it's about. So shake things up in your life, and it will change your life. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Time Is Always Now podcast. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. And I appreciate you sharing the podcast with your family, with your friends, your people on social media. I want as many people to get these messages as possible. I truly believe that if people get these messages and they listen and they hear and they incorporate it into their lives, it'll change their lives, and ultimately it will change the world. That's what it's all about. So if you shake things up in your life, you will be able to unequivocally say, I own the now and I have won. It's TY. I'm signing off. Remember the time. It's always now.